That means you're extraordinary.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back from a long break to the Don't Shoot Disc Golf podcast. I am your host, Harry Messenger, coming to you live from my studio in South Manchester. And here with me tonight, this week's guest is the owner and operator of Ghillies Disc Golf, the newest UK pay-to-play amazing wooded course that I had the privilege to play, and I'll be hosting an event at soon. It's Mr. Matt Gillespie. Welcome to Don't Shoot, Matt Gillespie.
Good evening, Harry. How you doing?
I am great, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Good.
From a busy day at the course.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm really glad that you've had some busy times and that we've got lots going on at Ghillies. It's very exciting. For anyone who hasn't checked it out, the course is in Stratford upon Avon. It's just opposite the Royal Armouries, and it's absolutely brilliant. There's so many big trees and beautiful fairways and so much going on that if you haven't been yet, and I hear some of you haven't been yet, you want to go check it out, and there's a really good chance to check it out, so I'm getting the plug in early. Coming up next weekend, so not this weekend, next weekend, on Sunday at 3 p.m, Berg Only 2 at Ghillies is on. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen in some way. Haven't had the sign-ups that we were hoping for, but we've got 18 signed up. We're going to hopefully push that towards 2025. Our pizza catering is not likely to happen at this point, but we'll have other catering. You guys might even get the privilege of me cooking you a cricket tea. I'll tell you the story behind that one. We at my cricket club, we always take it in turns to cook the tea. So between the innings, everyone will have the teas, and someone will make a load of sandwiches and cakes and scones and various things. So we might be going to offer that instead of pizza, but whatever we end up offering will be great. We'll make sure everyone is happy with what ends up happening, and we're going to run a great event, and looking forward to seeing some of you there. Looking forward to seeing you there, Matt. It's going to be great to be back at Ghillies again.
Yes, I'm looking forward. It'll be the first event at Ghillies, so I'm happy to have you sort this event out and get some new people to the course.
Yes,
it's obviously it's only been open for 6 weeks now. First couple of weeks was a bit quiet, getting people to know where I was and get a bit of the advertising going on there, but it literally in the last probably 2 weeks it's just gone crazy with bookings.
Fantastic.
Quickly with people in the Stratford area. I have to say, the first couple of weeks I was a bit paranoid that no one was coming. I was thinking, hang on a minute, I made a fatal error in spending all that money and spending all that time getting it together. But have to say the people have taken to it so well in the last couple of weeks during the school holidays, and I never thought I'd sell Axiom and Sanity to a 5-year-old.
There you go.
Which is what I did today.
Wow.
In my defence, I did try and dissuade the parents and say that's probably not the disc for you.
It probably was the prettiest one, though, having seen some of those Insanities.
And he loved it. So
good. That's really what matters.
What can you do? I had to just sort of,
yeah, that'll keep them coming back as well. So that's for the best. So we've got a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. We've got some UK disc golf news to get to because we've been off air for 4 or 5 weeks, which is the longest break I've ever had on the podcast. So it's been nice to have a bit of time off. We got some UK news to get to. We've got some Don't Shoot news. You guys are going to want to hear what I've got to tell you because we've got some really pretty discs that I've had made for to support the show. So can't wait to get those shown. Come down to Berg Only at Ghillies and it'll be your first chance to buy some. Oh, maybe second chance. We'll see when they go online. But come get a disc, and we'll show you those in a bit. Then we're going to talk to Matt about a bit about Ghillies and how it happened and what the story behind that is. And I'm going to spring something on him that he has not heard about in advance, so he's got that one to look forward to, Matt. And then, since last time, I'll tell you a little bit about my trip around the UK to play some disc golf, and then if we've got time, we'll finish it off with some Desert Island discs. Feedback on the new graphics would be appreciated. Let me know how they work, and yeah, let's get into the show, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's been a busy summer for UK disc golf, which is a nice change from last year. We've had a lot going on. There's been a few tournaments. But probably most excitingly in the news, we've had our teams travel over to Europe, and we've had our teams play in the European Championships and the European Teams World Flying Disc Federation. So we've had two big events, and I want to give a huge congratulations to everybody who went. Well done to everybody who played so well. A special shout out to Rachel Turton for her top 10 FPO finish.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That.
Yeah, made a huge statement. Put the UK scene on the women's map a little bit. Really proud of Rachel for doing that, and I'm sure by next year she's going to be really up there, because she'll have another year under her belt. She's only been throwing disc golf discs for 1 year.
Really?
Yeah. She started in the first lockdown, and now she's top 10 in Europe. So, wow,
that's an impressive rise.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good to see.
Yeah, and then we moved over to Croatia for the. Oh, I should really give a shout out to the others. Really, well done to Josh and Matt for their placings in Open. Ian had a really great finish in MP40. We had Charlie Mead winning the 55 plus division, I think. So congrats to Charlie on his victory. I think that's his third European Championship. Trying to remember some of the other players who went over. Willen. Zoe, of course.
Sounds like they all did pretty well. I mean, it was obviously a pretty high quality field playing as well. So they would have been up against the best players in Europe. So I think they all did really well. Put a good showing for the UK, which is good to see.
Yeah, really proud of them all. And speaking of a good showing for the UK, the World Flying Disc Federation Championships, silver medal, second place for Team GB. Wow.
That's good.
That's a great performance. I mean, some of the stronger teams weren't playing. I know Finland pulled out because of COVID restrictions, which makes sense. But there's some rules about traveling in and out of the Schengen area if you're a European country, and quarantining and testing and stuff. So we were lucky to be able to go, but it took down some really good wins. Came up just short in the match against Croatia in the final. But yeah, really proud. Second place for Team GB. Great statement.
And they had some great parties over there as well after tournaments.
Yeah,
I've not been to Croatia, but I've heard good things. It's one of the places that I need to. It's on the bucket list anyway.
Yeah.
In Croatia, so
I've heard some great stories of playing over there. So definitely want to get there one year.
Good beers. Check.
Oh, and the coast. I think it would be too hot for me in the summer though. Probably Croatia. I'm not really a heat person. I do cool holidays.
I think it does get freakishly hot out there, from what I've heard. So.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So we've had some UK tournaments as well. I'm trying to remember when we were last on air. I think it was. It definitely was before South Warden Farm, which was the last tournament that I played. We can see if this works. Let's see if I can get the new graphics all up and running. We're talking about South Warden Farm Championships. It'd help if I click the right buttons, wouldn't it? Here we go. We've got the graphics working. Here we go. The South Warden Farm Disc Golf Championships were on the 24th and the 25th of July. Obviously hosted by Disc Zoo and Charlie Mead. Had to say, this year, fantastically run tournament. Incredibly professional, really well run. Fantastic course. Bit of frustration with the course with me personally. I lost a lot of discs. I lost 5 discs, which is incredibly punishing. just because it's it's a working farm. There are big hedgerows, there are big thistly set aside land areas, and it was so windy on the first few days that if you threw a disc too high in the air, the wind just slammed it into whichever rough it happened to be at. And if you didn't, quite a lot of the holes kind of play alongside a hedgerow. So because you're kind of back in parallel to the hedgerow, it's really hard to judge where it's hit it.
Is there any water features there? Was there a
lake? There is a lake as well. I thankfully actually didn't put any discs in the lake this time, but plenty of people did. But yeah, fantastic course. I'd love to go back and play it again. That area of the country, if you've never been to North Devon, go check it out. There's some coastal areas which are just fantastic. Check out my Instagram for some pictures of it. But of course, getting to the actual results, you guys don't want to hear me waffling about my holiday all the time. Noah Smithson was rated 999, now rated over 1,000, so congrats to Noah on that. He took down the victory. He shot pretty good second round, which was enough to keep it out of the hands of everybody else. Shout out to Jamie Matthews taking a solid third place. I think that's probably his best Open finish in the UK as well. On the women's side, Bella took down the victory over Sian. Bella is fantastic, by the way. If anyone hasn't played with Bella yet, get that on your disc golf list. She's so much fun to play with. Masters, Ian, I mean, he's clearly stating his case for being the best Masters player. His rating's right up there now. Fantastic guy. Hopefully got some good news coming about our second course up here in Manchester as well. So Ian's been working really hard on that. Pro Masters, of course, Derek Robbins taking down the win. And Masters, Matt White. That is an absolutely ridiculous victory margin. He's won by 30 shots. So
wow.
So it just shows that Matt's got it in him to absolutely crush the field. What did he average rating wise? Wow, 950, incredible. And then in intermediate division, which is what I played, -9 with the victory for Andy Sleeman. These guys did all play a final 9, which is why the scores look a bit wacky here. But yeah, I was one shot off making the final 9. Really quite a frustrating tournament for me because the first round I played horribly badly in the wind. What did my first round rate? 857, so 50 points under my rating. And then I had 2 pretty good rounds back to back. The first round of the 2 was kind of just played fine, and then the second round of the 2 I probably should have shot 8 shots better, so I could have had a really good round, but just messed it up a bit at the end. But yeah, good tournament, really fun. I didn't quite perform how I wanted to, but I averaged my rating, so I can't complain too much. Yeah, continuing the last few shout-outs. Shout out to Nicky Hunt, Rob Tilley for the other 2 divisional victories. So that was that tournament. Of course, there was also the Essex Open. I'm not going to run through the Essex Open because I wasn't there, so I don't have any fun stories from it. But
which course was that? Which course was that?
So the Essex Open's at Essex University. They have permanent baskets at Essex University, which kind of litter the campus in orders. I don't want to comment too much on that tournament because obviously I wasn't there. I heard a few things about a couple of issues to do with the course not being ready for practice days, but I'm sure they put on a good tournament. I saw some positive reviews as well as some mixed ones, so obviously can't really speak to it because I wasn't there. But they ran an Essex Open, which is good to see because that's one of the sort of traditional British tour stops. And with Steve Cormuller going back over to the States, I was a little bit concerned they wouldn't get to run an Essex Open. But shout out to the team who made it happen, and I think it was the first time tournament director. So maybe next year they'll have some of the kinks and bells and whistles ironed out. And I know they also had a bit of a troubling time because they had their baskets pulled during COVID, so they only just got their baskets back as well. So
they got their baskets pulled, really?
Yeah. The university took all the baskets out so that people wouldn't use them in the lockdowns.
Oh, God, that's a bit brutal.
But they're back now and they've run a good tournament, so that's good. I know Joe O'Brien took down the Open victory, so we'll shout out him. So yeah, what else happened in the UK disc golf news? I'm probably missing something, aren't I? What else has been going on? Obviously we've got sign up open for a ton more tournaments. There was a bit of drama with Croydon opening their sign up for a B tier. on the same weekend as another tournament that the Scottish Disc Golf Association were running, which is the Felangary Invitational. It was if you want to read what my thoughts are on that, there's a post on my public Facebook page, on my Harry page. I don't want to criticize anybody without knowing all the facts. As with anything like that, there's a bit of he said, she said. There's a bit of communication problems. So the only thing I'm going to say is I think the BDGA should... I know it's been a weird year from Corona. I'd really love to see a statement about the plan for next year, some tour structure changes, and kind of a plan to make it so that half the field of a tournament don't have to pull out of one they're already registered for to go play a tournament with more BDGA points available that's set up later. Because it's really not fair on the organisers of the Felangary tournament to have half their field pull out for that reason alone. So
I'd say Felangary is one of the courses that I definitely need to go and check out. I haven't been there. The last 2 years is literally all my attention's been on one thing, and it's just taken up so much of my time. I haven't even really played a proper round for months.
It's crazy getting set up with the new thing.
Turns out running and owning a disc golf course doesn't mean to say you get to play it any more than you did before. In fact, you play way less.
Well, I'm super excited to go check out Felangary. 2 weeks time. Well, yeah, 2 weeks time I'm going to be going for my first trip to Felangary. I'm still playing the Invitational. I cannot wait to go check it out. I'll be able to do a full review on the podcast after the tournament.
They have lodges you can stay in, right?
Yeah. So they have glamping tents, and they've done this really great deal for the tournament. Actually, if anybody does still want to play the Felangary Invitational, there's still spots available. So just message either John Bruce or myself and say I'm interested. Could I please have an invite? And basically, the reason it's an invitational is not because there's some kind of elitist thing going on. It's not like members only club or anything like that. They were originally going to run the B tier, the Welsh Open, due to the coronavirus restrictions, and also the fact that they've literally just put the baskets in the ground for the rest of their course. They decided it was kind of a bit scary for having 90 or 72 or 90 players. I'm not sure what the field was supposed to be at the B tier on a completely untested course. No idea what the backups were going to be like. No idea what the footing on the tees was going to be like. They didn't feel comfortable going ahead with that. So instead, they've been kind of selectively inviting players who've got tournament experience, players who they know will provide feedback, and players who are going to understand that the course is sort of kind of... I'm a software engineer, right? I would call it a beta version. Like, they're still testing some of the stuff out. So that's why it's an invitational. It's not you're not on our friends list, so you can come thing. If you're interested in coming and you understand how it's going to be run, send me a message and we'll get you an invite. It's in 2 weeks, I think. Is that right? 3. It's on the 11th and 12th of September, so
yeah,
coming up. And of course, the other tournament that got announced was the Clash at the Cotswolds, which is a tournament that I am helping out at. Sponsored by London Disc Golf Community, tournament director Shane Cooper, one of their team players and friend of the show. And it was originally going to be sort of a Ace Disc Golf show. They'd been moving into their new warehouse and moving house and various other things, so they've just not had time to get it all set up. So Ollie Simonson and myself stepped in to help Shane, and we got the tournament set up, got everything negotiated, and we sold out the entire field in 2.5 hours. And now we've got 26 players on the waiting list. So that one's sold out. You're probably not going to get to play that one if you haven't signed up yet. But it's super cool to see the absolute demand for one-day events. And we're going to get loads more of them, I'm sure. A little bit of a misconception that some people have. I know I've heard this a few times. And London Disc Golf Community are absolutely fantastic. Ollie is a great person. He runs a really good tournament. He runs a tight ship. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about profiting off events, or I heard somebody who's never even met Ollie, has only ever heard rumours, saying some things yesterday which I just had to correct, because Ollie's a great person. Sure, his tournaments at Horsenden are expensive because he has to pay green fees. Some of the tournaments he does try and make a profit. He's upfront about that, so I don't know why we're judging him for it. And this specific Cotswold tournament, he's going to be he's sponsoring the event, and he will make a significant loss on it. So anybody saying anything about Ollie taking money out of tournaments, I would check your facts before you say it, because in this specific case, untrue. And my personal opinion is, if the tournament director is putting the amount of hours in and he can run a good tournament and it's good value for money, there's no reason why he shouldn't take money out of a tournament.
These things, it's your time, you know. People spend a lot of time to organise stuff like this, and
yeah, let's just say if the amount of time that me and Ollie and Shane have put in the last 2 weeks was chargeable, the tournament would be just incomprehensible, because we've probably put 40 hours of organisation in this week. So let's pay that out of the players' backs and see what the prize fund is. But anyway, yeah, definitely not accusing anybody in specific. But yeah, let's do fact checks before we blindly criticize.
Yeah.
Gone off on my high horse a little bit there, but you know, I had some some comments about that yesterday. So yeah, I think that's the UK disc golf news all wrapped up. And we'll go straight on to my don't shoot news. This won't take long, but I wanted to show off something pretty cool. So I've worked with an artist called John Dawn. Some of you will have seen last year's Tour Series stamp, the Stonehenge art, on the Launch Disc Golf Landers. And for the first time ever in the UK, I believe, a UK brand or player has a Tour Series disc produced by one of the major manufacturers. So MVP, I've worked with MVP on this design. We've paid for them to be stamped. I've worked with a brand in the States called DFX, who I need to give a massive shout out to. Don from DFX Discs. If you're ever buying anything from the States, check out his website. It's probably too expensive to ship it here, but they do cool things, and they're a really good community. But yeah, we worked together to update the Stonehenge stamp and run it in triple foil. It's so cool. I can't wait to show you. So let's get the screen share switch back on. And here we go.
Nice.
So let's get this zoomed in. That doesn't work. Why does making it smaller zoom it in? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's as good as we're going to get zoomed in wise, but
nice and bright so you can find it in the woods.
Yeah, so basically the design has got, obviously it's got the Don't Shoot logo, it's got the Stonehenge, it's got the stars in the sky, it's got the triple foil design. I can show you one in a different colour. This is probably my favourite one I've seen so far. All the foil is like lit up and highlighting things. You can see DFX's logo stamped in the middle to show you who I've worked with. Yeah, John absolutely smashed it, and modifying this design for MVP discs. There's a misprint there. Kind of that one's all over the place because this is one of the misprint ones. But yeah, these are a labour of love for me. I've been dreaming of having a Tour Series disc since the day I started the sport. This is a dream come true for me, and you guys, by buying them, are going to be supporting the show and supporting me, and I'm super excited for these. So how are you going to be able to get hold of one? For the next 2 weeks, they're going to be exclusive to me. We're going to do a couple of auctions on the used and new page. We're going to have a few available directly through me. And then starting in 2 weeks, they're going to be available on Disc Golf UK and London Disc Golf Community. They'll be the same price everywhere. £20, I think, is what we're going with. There are neutron reactors, which is a straight flying mid-range, my favourite mid-range. Flight numbers 5, minus 0.52, I think, or minus 1, 2. And then we've got fission photons, which is the distance driver that me and James Conrad both throw. So, it's good. There's 100 discs of these in the UK. So, they're going to be, when they're gone. And really proud to have worked with London Disc Golf community and with Disc Golf UK. Thanks so much to Disc Golf UK for helping me import them and making this happen. Couldn't have done it without them as well. So I'm super excited, super happy, and can't wait for people to have them. And the day I see somebody else throwing one on the course is going to be a happy day. So very excited.
They look good. I'll have to get myself one of those.
Yeah, come to Berg Only at Ghillies and we'll have some in person, live and in person, and you can pick up your disc.
Yeah. Well, I'll throw one into the first available tree.
Yes, definitely. And there'll be we'll do event pickup to Clash at the Cotswolds and to Fellingerry and to Scottish Open as well. So if you want to buy one and have it brought to the event, make that happen.
Cool.
And I'll do a post about this on my social media today. Obviously, I haven't done my Disc Golf Everyday post yet today because I've been waiting for this moment, but we'll get that done. So there's my Don't Shoot news. Since the last podcast, we've also had the new website. So if anybody wants to go and check out the website, don'tshoot.blog, there's a shop there now. It's got a new layout for the blog, using it to test some things for Shopify for a client site. So we're all Shopify'd up, and if you want to go check out the website, feel free. So, any more Don't Shoot news? Probably not, really. Those are the two big bits of news. Podcast back, that's news, but you guys know that because you're here. So hopefully we'll be back to weekly shows going forward. Need to get Dean on. We were supposed to have Dean last week, but he had a family emergency, so hope all's okay with him, and we'll be back next week. So yes, let's talk Ghillies Disc Golf. That's why we're all here.
Right.
So Matt,
Whoa.
Ghillies Disc Golf, as we said before at the start of the show, Stratford upon Avon. You've told me a little bit of the story, but I'd love to hear it from the beginning. So how did Ghillies come about?
Yeah, so I mean, I started playing. Well, my local course is Quarry Park, so I've been playing there for several years, sort of on and off. And it wasn't until probably, I think 4 years ago, I was watching one of the big tournaments on Jomez Pro or whatever it was of the wooded courses, and recently I'd been I had to do a lot of thinning work in the wood, or what they called an aggressive thinning. The woodland was basically so thick with trees you could barely see 20 meters in front of you. You know, it was like something out of an old 1950s horror movie or something. So basically we got a license from the Forestry Commission, went in there, took out several hundred trees, got some light into the place for the first time in probably 30 years. And when I was walking around with the arborist and we were looking at the way the machine had gone through and taken down the trees to create the light and the space and stuff, it just, there was a light bulb moment, and I just thought, I remember seeing some of these tight wooded courses in America on YouTube and thinking, hang on a minute, disc golf, empty woodland, surely there's something there that I can do. So I'd been playing with Rich Hatton a few times at Quarry Park and mentioned it to him. Got him down there. We had a wander around. He got all excited, like a schoolboy in the pick and mix section in the supermarket. So he went off and got excited about it. I, to be honest, to begin with, I wasn't really that excited about it because I wasn't really sure if it was going to work because it was so dense with trees. I just didn't see an 80 or any kind of course going in there. So I couldn't really see it to begin with. Rich kind of, went quite a few times, walked around, and he was imagining the lines and the holes and all this kind of stuff. So he kind of, got me excited about it eventually. I went through the process of, going through planning, which was, I have to say, one of the most difficult things I've ever done. It took 18 months.
Wow.
The Stratford District Council are notoriously tricky to deal with. So I had to come up with the funds to do it, because it was just the planning process alone was incredibly expensive. The amount of ecological surveys that they asked me to do, let's just say they were pulling out all different factions that I'd never heard of from the council. Your Natural England, the Forestry Commission, Wildlife Trusts, you name it. There was several factions who were demanding things from me. So it was a process that was, and obviously because of COVID, they were slower than they normally are.
Sure.
There was a number of times where I just thought, you know what, this isn't going to work. This is just, they're not interested whatsoever. And I think the problem is that, because there isn't a course directly around Stratford, it's kind of new to them. And I think because golf was in the title of disc golf, sometimes I wish it was called disc something else or something, because people think, well, certainly in the ecology terms, they were thinking, right, he's just going to rip the woodland down, build fairways, bunkers, etc., etc. And I remember writing a 58-page business plan, which was basically describing the fact that a disc golf course is implemented into the existing topography. That the land is there.
Sure.
You're not destroying the land to build a course. You're putting the course in around the land that's already there. But of course, you have to deal with the generic responses. So everybody was objecting, but they were objecting, and their responses were, "Oh, you're just ripping down all the trees. Why do we want another golf course?" And I said, "Well,
yeah, they haven't read the proposal.
A, you haven't read the proposal. B, you're calling it golf course. It's not the same thing," which is why I wrote it's why I wrote a 58-page document explaining what it was. So what I had to do is, after they'd all objected with their generic response, they'd all copied and pasted their objections. So I had to go through every objection and highlight, the things that they'd said which made no sense, and then I'd have to write almost like an essay on every sentence that they'd objected to explain to them that they hadn't even read what I was, trying to propose. So, this process was pretty frustrating. It lasted for, like I said, 18 months. But to cut a long story short, eventually we got there. I had an interesting, one of the turning points is when my planning consultants told me I had to meet up with the Snitterfield District Council, which is the local village council.
Sure. And
walk. There were several people from there who wanted me to walk them around the woodland. So I did that. There was one lady in particular, Marjorie Yates, who was in do you remember Shameless, the TV series?
I don't, but I know other people will.
She was the mother in Shameless, but
okay.
She's an RSC actress, and she was telling me hilarious stories about her and all the thespians reading poetry there in the 60s and 70s, getting up to all kinds of mischief and stuff. But she loved the idea. Some of the locals loved the idea. There was a couple of people there who said they were obviously ball golfers, or what I'd call
golfers.
Ball golf snobs. Yeah. They turned up, and this couple turned up and immediately said, "I think it's an absolute disgrace what you're doing. How dare you destroy a woodland like this?" So obviously, going into sort of, trying to not, react to that in a certain way, I kind of looked at my planning consultant as if to say, "You deal with this one." But she was I had to explain to her the fact that, you know, a golf course is much worse for the environment than implementing a few baskets into a woodland.
Sure, sure.
Tried not to get heated with it, but she was quite an aggressive person. But ultimately, the meeting went well. The majority of the Smithfield District Council were pleased with what I said and, you know, what the plans were. So they changed their objection. And ultimately, Natural England and the Forestry Commission were happy. So I had to work my way through all these different factions. You know, obviously the ecology. Once they'd got the results of the ecology report, they seemed happy. You know, they were obsessed with great crested newts and bats and, you know, dormice and all these kind of things. So once that was all done, it all sort of started to turn in my favour, and I got a little bit more confident with it. And anyway, eventually, after a long sort of 18 months through COVID, which felt like 3 years, finally I got the go-ahead, and we started the process, or I started the process of fighting with bramble, cutting down, you know, various trees that needed to be cut down. But it's been a long process, but it's been worth it. The course has been open for almost 2 months, and the Stratford public, the families are absolutely loving it.
Yeah, it's so good to hear. It's really cool.
I mean, for the first few weeks that I opened, as soon as the schools broke up, I was a bit worried because no one was coming to the course. And then I realised that that's the 2 weeks when all the families go on holidays. Everyone escaped to the beach, obviously being in the Midlands. Everyone was like, right, I'm going for my beach holiday. But the last 2 weeks since they've come back, it's been absolutely rammed with families.
Good.
And I have to say 90% of the people who've been there have no idea what disc golf was.
Yeah,
fantastic. A couple of them have been to Quarry Park, obviously the closest course. But the majority of them, you know, had no idea what disc golf is. So it's been great fun to just, you know, give them a scorecard, talk them through the map. You know, I always walk people to the first tee pads, do a quick demo, show them, you know, the best way to sort of throw a disc and a few basics on the rules and things like that. Then I leave them go off and do their thing, and all you can hear from the shop is just laughter.
Fantastic.
Gains, trees being hit. You know, they all say, "Yeah, there's quite a lot of trees in here." I'm like, "Yeah, well, that's the beauty of it." But you know, it's been really positive. I've always wanted more kids and more families to get into it, and I have to say that the amount of kids that, you know, they come back to the shop after the round. I've got discs in there for sale now, and literally in the last few days since I've had my first shipment of discs, I've sold a lot of discs to families.
Excellent.
A lot of Disc Golf UK starter packs. Like I said earlier, I sold an Axiom Insanity to a 5-year-old, which I never thought I'd do. I have to say, I did say to the parents that wasn't probably the best disc. I did try to sell them a putter, but
they want what they want, don't they?
The one was pretty, so he wanted that. So
yeah, I totally get that. MVP discs make very pretty discs. So yeah, for those people who don't know yet, at the moment there's 12 holes open at the course. Most if not all of them have 2 tees. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. There's I think on the short course there's one hole which isn't on the long course. It's quite confusing, but then there's holes 8, 9, and 10 on the white course have nothing to do with the short course. But some of them have, you know, 2 tee pads on one fairway, just the intermediates, you know, maybe 50, 60 feet further back. And then obviously you've got the notorious hole 10.
Oh, yes.
Which is the 156 meter par 4, which probably should be a par 5.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I think it's quite a funny hole because it doesn't really feel like it fits with the rest of the difficulty layout. Like the
Yeah,
it all fits
it's the
together
odd one
quite
out.
well, but you kind of like, okay, this is a gettable par three, this is a hard gettable par three. All of a sudden, you're playing probably the second hardest or hardest par four in the country, and you're just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's a beast. Well, as far as I know, the only person to birdie it was Rich Hatton last week.
Nice.
He came in the evening and said he creamed his first shot round the oak tree through the narrowing and finished on the left-hand side, and then managed to get a lucky big turnover that went through everything, and I think he got the long putt for the birdie. So
Yeah, I had a birdie look the first time I played it, so I was kind of deceived slightly the first time I played it. It was a bit of a lucky thumber shot, the second shot, but I kind of shortcut most of the hole and ended up with a birdie look. But it's not going to be an easy one to get for anybody.
it's the thing I love about wooded courses and this course in particular is that I love scrambling personally. I love having to pull out all the weird little shots, the flick rollers, the thumbers, the scubas, it's not just bombing a massive hyzer and then putting into a basket. You've really got to think about.
Yeah.
It's a thoughtful golf. You just have to think quite a bit more about what disc you're going to use, what shot you're going to take. It's a tough course, but it's, I think it's fair as well. I'd say fair.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Yeah, there's a good, well-defined line on every hole. There's no lucky. You have to. There's no. I'll throw it at those trees and get lucky, which is something you find at quite a lot of holes that use woods. But actually, they just put the basket in the trees and just say, "We'll throw it in there." Then, definitely no holes at Mearside at all. Definitely not. But yeah, it's a really cool course. Go check it out. And I know what a lot of people here are going to be wanting from you, Matt, is some kind of update on the plan for the second lot of 12 holes.
Yes, so I've started clearing the other side of the woodland. Now, when the course calms down a bit, when the kids go back to school, which is, I believe, in a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and it will probably quieten down a little bit. You'll be seeing me fighting with 6 feet of bramble on the other side of the course.
It is thick in there.
It's pretty thick on that side. Yeah, it's been that bramble's been developing for 4 or 5 years. So I'm going to get in there and slowly over the winter, over the next sort of 4 or 5 months, I'm going to be in there tackling that. And the idea is to get the most of the bramble out, so myself and Rich Hatton can get in there and figure out the layout and the flow of the 12 holes that are going on that side. And then it's a case of getting in the forestry mulching machine, possibly in the spring. Obviously, a lot depends on the weather. Like, for example, this year I was wanting to open in beginning of June, but because we had that torrential rain throughout the whole of May, pretty much.
Yeah, I remember.
The course was so wet. I had to literally wait for 3 or 4 weeks for it to dry out because the mulching machine is like a skid steer on the tracks. It's a serious piece of kit. If it goes in, it can churn the ground up pretty badly. So I needed it to dry out a significant amount. So it's a case of waiting till the bluebells have gone in the spring, and then getting the mulching machine in. I mean, it depends. It might even do it beforehand. It's all about timing. There's a lot of things to take into consideration with nesting season, the how wet the ground is, all these kind of things. But hopefully, I'd like to think by the end of spring, beginning of summer, that the 12 blue holes will be ready to go.
Nice.
And then probably, I'd like to think by the end of the summer, I could maybe have the 18-hole gold layout, championship level layout, which would be, all geared up for tournaments.
Nice.
Now, obviously it depends on what the help I can get throughout the winter with clearing. Obviously, it's a lot of work for one person, so I just have to chip away at it as and when I can. And actually, surprisingly, a lot of the families who've been coming in the last couple of weeks have been asking me if I'm staying open for winter.
Nice.
Which is a positive sign. I was thinking when the schools go back, it's going to go back to being pretty quiet. But
yeah,
a lot of them are excited about playing, certainly at weekends. So
yeah,
hopefully, if you can be busy in the winter as well, that's just a massive bonus.
Yeah, and we've got some kind of semi-exclusive news for you guys, which is that we are bringing out a Ghillies Disc Golf Day Pass for people to play in the week outside of peak times. So why don't you tell the people a little bit more about that, because I know a lot of people have been asking for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I understand why, because people traveling from all around the country, people drive for a couple of hours, they want to come and be able to play for a day without having to pay the full amount for a round. So I get that. Obviously, I haven't done that straight away because obviously I've just opened and I've needed to sort of, get a significant sort of amount of money building up so I can get the other course going. So what we're doing is we're going to do a day rate, which will be probably £15 for the day. And that will be obviously play as many rounds as you want. The only times you won't be able to do that is obviously in April when I'm closed for the Bluebell season, and probably for the 6 weeks during the summer holidays. But the rest of the year is pretty much going to be £15 for the day, and you can play as many rounds as you like.
Yeah, so keep your eyes and ears open on the booking site for that rate launching probably end of September, I would say.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. I'll let you know, and I'll also put it on the website, so people can basically just turn up at the course and pay there. But we'll probably do something on the website as well, so they can book it online.
Yeah.
And that way, people can just loop the course. They can do a couple of rounds of the white course, a couple of rounds on the short course, do some ace runs, and obviously from next spring, you're going to have the 12-hole advanced course. So there's going to be 3 courses to play. And the beauty of having the blue course on one side of the woodland means there's not going to be any families on that side or kids. So if you do turn up when it's busy, you can loop the advanced course as many times as you like. And then when the kids have gone late afternoon, with the families have gone for dinner or whatever, you can then pop over to the other side, do the white course a couple of times, and then eventually when the gold course is done, you can do the 18-hole championship level course, which would be an absolute beast.
I cannot wait to play that. I'm so excited.
I'll tell you that there's not going to be many under par scores on that course.
Yeah. Well, I think it's something that the UK really needs some hard courses, because we've got lots of pretty good courses, but we don't have very many hard courses. So
it's going to be a brute. I mean, there's going to be on those, particularly on you got hole 10 obviously at the moment, which is obviously notoriously difficult. But on the other side, within the 12 blue holes, you're going to have, for example, there'll be one probably par 5 which runs all the way down the western side of the site, and it will have probably 2 landing zones, so you literally have not a chance in hell of reaching anywhere near the basket even with a distance driver. It's going to be a case of
amazing.
You need to pick the landing zone, you need to place it into the landing zone, but it'll be par 5, maybe possibly 170 meters, that one.
Great.
Through tight wooded lines, and then there's going to be a huge figure of 8 fairway which runs straight down the middle. The basket will be a raised basket just the other side of a drainage ditch. So that's going to be a brute of a hole. And then there's a couple of fairways that split two ways, so you can good for a forehand or backhand off the tee.
There you go.
Right-handers, left-handers. So you've got options. One thing that I spoke to Rich Catton about when he was designing the course is that I wanted it to be as 50% backhand, 50% forehand. So you've got options off the tee on most tee pads for the forehand and the backhand. There's not like one specific, shot that you need to do. You've got a few options.
I actually, even on the 12-hole layout that's there at the moment, I think that's very true. I don't think I've played any course where I've wished I've had a better forehand than Ghillies. So
yeah, it's it just leaves it open. It gives you the choice on the tee, and that's what I think is something that I wanted. You're on the tee and you're thinking, right, shall I use my forehand or shall I use my backhand? Guess whichever one's working better on the day.
Definitely. Yeah, so, agreed.
Yeah.
So I said I was going to spring something on you, Matt. So we're going to have to talk about this later. But what I want to do is I want to run the first PDGA sanctioned event at Ghillies before you open the new layout. So on the white course. Yeah. And I want that to be in the off season. As part of something that I am planning. So no one has ever heard about this yet. So this is the very first teaser on the show. But hopefully, got a lot of planning and negotiations to do, but hopefully we're going to run the Don't Shoot off-season tour this winter. And we're going to run some PDGA sanctioned events to keep you guys ticking over with some round ratings and get some rounds in at some of the UK's best private courses and... Get some rated rounds in sort of in homage to the Mods Midlands One Day Series, which is not running this year. But let's.
It's one thing that I've
talk about it more.
Is more tournaments. I'm happy to have a number of tournaments. God,
we're ringing.
Oh. Yeah, the more tournaments, the better. For me, having some sanctioned tournaments is going to be great, and also having some. I was speaking to I think Matt from the Yarra Valley League. He's running a tournament in October. I was chatting to him, and he's possibly doing some more tournaments for. Beginners and kids as well, to get people into playing in that kind of environment, but obviously on a light-hearted note, so not sort of not sanctioned or anything, but just doing more tournaments to get younger people into it more.
Yeah, he's doing some really cool things.
He's a good lad. It's been good to get these kind of things. I think it's just good for the community as a whole. Obviously now, with what we've all been through the last couple of years, to get people doing events outside is just a great thing. So.
Yeah. A load of people are loving it. If our Cotswold tournament can be announced and filled up within 2.5 hours of... we announced it 2 days before. Open registration, filled it within 2.5 hours, 72 players. So nice. I'm sure if we run an off-season tour... We'll have some sold out events. We'll have some not sold out events, but we'll have some events for everyone to play. So excited, and keep your ears tuned for more news about that. And we'll bring you some more information in a month or two. So yeah, Matt, we're kind of running out of time. We got so many things planned. So let's skip the since last time segment of the show, and we'll do Desert Island Discs really quickly before the end of the show. How about that?
Right. Okay.
So let's talk about Desert Island Discs, which is where I say you're going to be able to play a tournament on a course in a desert island. It's a fun, casual course. It's magical, so your discs will come back if you lose them, so you can bring your very favourite ones. But you can only bring one driver, one mid-range, and one putter. Matt Gillespie from Ghillies Disc Golf. What discs are you bringing?
So I'm going to start with the faster disc. I'm going to start with my Fairway Driver, which I suppose my Quarry Park days is one I used a lot, is the Convict.
Okay, I like that.
Not a very fashionable, trendy
disc.
No,
I think it's...
I mean, Paige Pierce used to use this disc a lot. it's pretty straight. I wouldn't say it's certainly not as overstable as like a Firebird or something like that. It's much straighter, and it's just got a little bit of finish at the end. But I like it for forehands. It's pretty flat, so it's good forehand disc. Not a big fan of domey discs, so this one definitely for off the tee, Quarry Park.
Yeah, if you ever watch any of the Dynamic Discs pro players play, a lot of them throw their flip up hyzer flip forehands with the Convict. So
it's a great disc. And I'm going to go for my approach disc, and again probably pretty untrendy, is my Star Rat.
Yeah, that's a fun disc.
It's 4303, but it's never a 3 with the fade. It's a lot straighter than that. I mean, you just kind of flick it. These are forehands mostly, forehand approach shots, and it just kind of stays straight, and there's just a little bit of finish. So feels good in the hand. It's pretty flat, puddle top. There's loads of discs. I mean, I use some of the other approach discs as well, like Entropy, which is slightly more overstable.
A bit slower, a bit more overstable.
Like that, which are good. And then putting wise, or under 150 feet, another unfashionable, slightly weird disc, I suppose, much like the Berg, is the Banger.
Okay.
Soft Banger GT. People look at me weirdly when I putt with that, but it feels good in the hand.
Yeah.
Maybe I've got weird-shaped hands, I don't know, but I like the the
thumb track. Yeah.
Thumb skills in it, so works for me. Although I have to say those are my discs for like Quarry Park, but if I was in like a wooded course, if I was in a little wood on a desert island, I'd probably go flippier.
Yeah, sure.
Probably definitely go that.
Oh, well, here comes the cheating. Then we're getting more discs out. This is not allowed, Matt.
But yeah. So, no, those 3 are historically my most used discs. Banger, the Rat, and the Convict. But yeah, totally not popular, but they fit in my hand. It's all about how they fit in your hand, I think, with discs. There's a lot of good discs out there.
There are.
You can try a million different discs. You can throw the most popular disc in the world, but if it doesn't feel right in your hand, you're not going to throw it. So.
Yeah, I'm currently on a big MVP discs kick. I'm adding more and more MVP discs to my bag at the moment, but
yeah, I might have to go down that route because they make a lot of flat discs.
They do.
It's good for forehands.
When I was at Ghillies, I was like, "Oh, Matt, throw this MVP disc and this MVP disc," and just giving them all to you in the car park. But yeah, I actually here's some Harry Desert Island discs news. I'm putting with Bergs at the moment. There you go, putting with my Bergs and approaching with them and doing everything with them. I'm just berging it up on the course. So we'll have to. Yeah, I'm fairly sure that you should never go full Berg, but I have. So we'll see if that lasts or if that pays off. I will keep you guys informed on the podcast. But
might go full Banger.
Full Banger, yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you so much, Matt, for telling us your story and coming to join us. If you're still here in the chat, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you a lot. Please share this show with a friend. It will be up on YouTube. It will be up on all good podcast sites when I get round to it. Some episodes I never get round to it. I'm going to try and be better in season 2, is what we're calling this now. I'm going to try and make better audio versions. But don't hold me to that because my life is crazy time at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to Cotswold View tomorrow. If anybody happens to hear this and is going to be there, let's meet up at Cotswold View. And if not, I'll talk to you all again on the podcast in a week's time. Thank you to Matt, and thanks to the sponsors, Disc Golf UK, London Disc Golf Community. You guys are the best, and see you next week. Bye, guys. Cheers.